Hey y'all, and welcome to the Birmingham Real Estate Market Update COVID-19 special. This is the 13th week of us doing this, going through and looking at what happened in the Birmingham real estate market for the last week. We're going to go through and look at the number of closings that we had. We're also going to look at the available inventory on the market versus what is under contract to sell, and just get a picture of exactly how tight our market is becoming. So we're going to do that today. We're also going to look back at that Realtor.com recovery index over the last week. That's something that I introduced in the previous video. So we're going to look back at that, and then we're also going to talk about some economic and stimulus information, some things that have already happened and some things that could potentially happen that are to help you if you're struggling in this difficult economic time from the coronavirus just shutting everything down. And there's a lot of things out there, so I want to share that with you. And let's go ahead and get started. My name is Rob.h.drum. I'm a real estate broker at eXp Realty here in Birmingham, Alabama. I'd love it if you would reach out to me if you have any questions about real estate or any thing that you need to get done real estate wise. I'll put my contact information in the description below if you want to reach out. And so the last week we had 403 closings versus the same week the previous year at 551. So we're running at over 20% less closings, and that really kind of follows the trend from the previous week where we had, again, over 20% less closings for that period. So the number of closings that we've got happening for June is, you can safely say, is going to be a good bit less than previous June. And I think that's due to a lot of things. Some of these deals were put together in May or even April and are getting, because of complications in financing or in the job market, these transaction closing dates are getting pushed into late June or July. And so that's part of the reason for the low number of closings potentially. Another reason is just a really tight market, a real lack of available listings to sell. So you can see here this trend of every single week we've got less listings available on our MLS. And that continued again this week. We've got 30 less listings. And then at the same, kind of the other side of that coin is we've got more and more properties that were on our MLS that are under contract to sell. So we had another big jump, over 100 more properties that were on our MLS that are under contract. So the market just continues to tighten. If you're looking to buy a home, you really need to be very aggressive. And that's something I've had to kind of adapt in my mindset is you really have to stay on top of listing agents. You have to really be aggressive in getting your offer out there and making sure it's seen and considered. So that's where we are in our market. And again, this is the Realtor.com recovery index. I spoke about this in the video I made last week. It's really interesting how they came up with it. It takes into account a lot of different factors. But over the last week, we are actually one of the most improved markets according to their index. We were up 7.1 points and getting very close to this 100 baseline, which kind of takes all the data from January pre-coronavirus and just lets you know how close you're getting to like a normal. As an agent and listening to other agents in other markets, I know that we have held up really well, exceptionally well, from a pricing and volume perspective. So our market has really been resilient, and we've continued to work and have closings and function as a real estate market. So these numbers are interesting. We'll keep following this, but I can just tell you from being involved on a day-to-day basis that we've held up really well, and I think we'll continue to thrive post-COVID-19 shutdown. So economic and stimulus updates. The PPP loans that I've talked about a lot on this show are really continuing. We're continuing to get guidance on exactly how they're going to work. These loans are really, it's kind of a misnomer to call them loans because they're intended to be grants. Congress intended that you would take these loans and then they would be forgiven. And they're meant for small business owners. They're meant for 1099 contractors, self-employed people, sole proprietors, anyone who is in business and is in a vulnerable position from this coronavirus shutdown. So originally they came out with an 11-page beast of a forgiveness form, and that's how you're gonna have to fill that out to get the loan forgiven. And now they came and simplified that tremendously and took it down to 3 pages. I'll put a link to that in the description here. It's much more manageable. So I would definitely take that into consideration. If you haven't gotten one of these loans yet, the portal is open until the end of the month to apply, and there's still funds there. So you can still apply for one of these loans if you've been thinking about it or holding off on doing it because you're worried about forgiveness or you're worried about whatever. You can still do it, and there may be a second round of PPP loans coming. That's kind of on the horizon. It's just something people are talking about, along with a lot of other things in Congress. So the EIDL loans, something that I haven't talked about in a while because they shut down the portal. That is basically if you have no employees or one employee, that is probably going to be a $1,000 grant that you can apply for right on the SBA's website. It's pretty easy to apply. They deposit the money directly into your account. So that could be a good thing to take advantage of. And they just opened the application portal again because they got flooded so much they had to shut it down. And now they've kind of worked through it. So they opened that portal up, and that could be a very good thing to take advantage of. Again, if you're self-employed, 1099 contractor, small business owner. So this is realtors, investors, a lot of just broad range of people that, qualify for both the PPP and the EIDL. And then another thing that's kind of just on the horizon is second stimulus checks and the Explore America tax credit. I think the second stimulus checks are probably going to happen according to most people. It's just a matter of timing. So, and the Explore America tax credit is proposed, and it's designed to get us back going to restaurants and going to travel, hotels, and kind of get us back to normal life. So I'll keep you updated on those 2 things and on everything related to the Birmingham real estate market or economic stimulus from this coronavirus shutdown. I'd love it if you would subscribe to this channel, and I will keep you updated. Thank you for watching today, and I will see you all next week.